Hello, and welcome to the second episode of De-Stress with Z. This episode will talk about one of my favorite books in psychology, and it's going to be by Jordan P. Peterson, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. This is actually my turning point book that brought me great interest in the field of psychology. I remember first reading this book in my senior year of high school, and after reading it, as well as the book I mentioned in my first episode, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, those two books made me realize that I'm really interested in the field as a whole and made me take the step to major in psychology. So today I'm just going to talk about briefly about Jordan B. Peterson's book and how he mentions those 12 rules of life based on his experiences with his patients as well as in his life. One of the chapters are stand up straight with your shoulders back. That's rule 1. So he states every rule as a chapter and illustrates it using examples, personal experiences. The second rule is treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Rule 3, befriend people who want the best for you. Rule 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. This is one of my favorite rules that he mentions. So I'd actually like to go through the chapter with you guys. Let's see how he starts the chapter. Almost there. Alright. So he always puts like a photo before the chapter, which I find interesting. It's kind of child friendly, although I'd say that this is not really an easygoing book. I actually read it like twice. Some chapters are more challenging than others, but it takes you time to actually understand in between the lines because he's really good at that. So, rule 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. The internal critique. It was easier for people to be good at something when more of us lived in small rural communities. Someone could be homecoming queen, someone else could be spelling bee champ, math whiz, or basketball star. There were only 1 or 2 mechanics and a couple of teachers. In each of their domains, these local heroes had the opportunity to enjoy the serotonin-fueled confidence of the victor. It may be for that reason that people who were born in small towns are statistically overrepresented among the eminent. If you're 1 in a million now, but originated in modern New York, there's 20 of you, and most of us now live in cities. What's more, we have become digitally connected to the entire 7 billion. Our hierarchies of accomplishment are now dazzlingly vertical. No matter how good you are at something or how you rank your accomplishments, there's someone out there who makes you look incompetitive. You're a decent guitar player, but you're not Jimmy Page or Jack White. You're almost certainly not even going to rock your local pub. You're a good cook, but there are many great chefs. Your mother's recipe for fish, heads and rice, no matter how celebrated in her village of origin, doesn't cut in these days of grapefruit foam and Scotch tobacco ice cream. So he gives examples, from daily life to try to explain his main ideas. I'm not gonna go further than that because I'd like you guys to figure it out on your own. He goes on 3-4 pages talking about anecdotes, and then eventually at the end he kind of summarizes everything what he means by stating one of his rules. I'm going to go ahead and move down to the rest of the rules that he mentions. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them, so that when you are put in the real world, they will like them. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. That is rule 6, and this is one of my favorite rules. And Jordan B. Peterson kind of hints on the yin-yang symbol, or if I may say, I kind of related it to it because he talks about yin-yang and chaos and order. So let's take, for example, yin being chaos, yang being order. And if you guys are not familiar with yin-yang, it's like a symbol with two halves. One of them is black with a white dot. One of them is white with a black dot. And something interesting about that symbol is that the reason for that being, two sides is Dyrus also recognized that chaos can turn into order at any moment. So a new order can raise out of a chaotic structure. That's a revolution in some sense. But by the same token, when you're in a place that's orderly and predictable, something that happened that casts you into a chaotic situation right now. So even though these two things oppose each other in some sense, their continual dynamic interplay between them. So it's really important to focus, as he states it, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. It can be your house, it can be your inner temple before you criticize people around you. And it's really important today that some people forget to look in the mirror and see what are the things that I can improve in myself to move forward, to reach to my ideal self. Not the ideal self that people put for you, but for the one that you want to see yourself in, for the work that you're putting in. If you are somebody that is interested in clinical psychology, you have to try and put yourself in situations where you are uncomfortable, situations that are going to teach you how to be a better person in your field. Don't just rely on textbooks. Go ahead and look for a job where you're going to be encountered with people with different disorders. Try to shadow professionals along the way. It is really important and you have to put in the work. And you have to know that what is considered order in your life and what is considered chaos. And that at any moment, just like Jordan B. Peterson mentions, it might flip. I'm gonna move on to the rest of the rules that I have on my notes here. Rule 7 is pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Rule 8, tell the truth or at least don't lie. Rule 9, assume that the people you are listening to might know something you don't. I want to stop at this one too. I really feel that this is important because a lot of people think that they know it all. You may have a degree, you may have the best education, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be open to listen to other people. You might learn something from them, and vice versa. They might learn something from you. Sometimes people are book smart, sometimes other people are life smart. And if you work hard enough, you can be both. But do not be arrogant enough to believe that your degree, your certifications, your education make you feel like you know it all. Because believe me, nobody does. It's really important to be open and believe that you are able to learn from your surroundings and the other way around. Now, rule 10 is be precise in your speech. Rule 11, do not bother children when they are skateboarding. And rule 12, pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. I remember reaching to these last two rules, 11 and 12, like reading those titles like, what does he really mean? And I like that he kind of puts it in a humorous and relatable way. A lot of people love cats. A lot of people start on by skateboarding in their life. So I'm not gonna say anything about those chapters in particular because they're the last two. I'm gonna let you guys figure that out. Let me know in the comments below if you have read this book and what do you think about it. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.